Hello everyone, welcome back to another 1v1 Warhammer battle. This is going to be the Red Dukes Musilion versus the Dwarves. For my army, I wanted to have a focus on just the Black Knights, just the very basic Black Knights, because I don't see them brought that much. I was like, let's give them some love here. So we have a total of 5 Black Knights, 3 over here with the Red Duke, and then 2 over here on the left flank. My main line is going to be Skeletal Warriors, because they're a good hammer and anvil unit, because they will never break. Behind them, we have the Stearnsmen, we have 1 Corpse Card of the Unholy Lodestone, and then 4 Crypt Horrors, because we're fighting against Dwarves, and I needed some sort of armor piercing in my army, because really nothing else has any. Speaking about the Dwarves have like 6 Longbeards in here, I think 4 Ironbreakers, Grombrindle, a Runesmith, and then an assortment of Dwarf Warriors. At the start of this battle, the only thing I could actually see, because you can tell that most of these are in hiding because of the little eye symbol, I can only see these two Dwarf Warriors near this line in this forest, and I was like, okay. Well, this should be interesting. So I'm going to march my army initially up to about like right here, I think. And then I'm going to do some scouting with our Black Knights. I'm going to send 1 knight up in here to see what we can see. And then I think the Red Duke and these Black Knights over here are going to line up here. And then the Red Duke's going to scout like this. And I'm not even going to see any of these units until we get almost like right on top of them here and here. And then I see what this opponent is doing here. This very solid line of dwarves. I'm guessing they didn't bring any ranged or cannons or anything because they're probably been hit a few times with like raised dead vampire count armies, which are very annoying to deal with. But again, I don't really do the raised dead thing, so I don't have raised dead here. What I do have, a spell that I rarely take, but I decided to take this time because we're fighting against dwarves. Like, they don't really like to move much. I brought Winds of Death. And Invocation of the Heck. Those are the only 2 spells I have on the Red Duke, and he is my only spell caster. And then I'm going to see that this army, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a perfect army to do Winds of Death on. That's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So I'm gonna, scout my enemy's position here, and eventually we will see. Actually, we see a lot of them right here because I just sent in my Black Knights to see what the hell's going on. And I just noticed all these stacked up dwarves, and I saw a bunch of Ironbreakers, and I'm like, oh, holy shit! Well, this is a very dense formation. So this is when I'm going to line up my Black Knights back here. I'm going to get these 2 Black Knights. I'm just going to kind of shorten their formation here, make a little skinnier, and I'm just going to bridge through this gap because I want all 5 knights behind their line, so we're going to hit them in the front with my Skeletal Warrior, Stearnsmen, Crypt Horrors on 2 sides, and the Corpse Cart, and then the idea is to do cycle charges in their back, because they're in a forest, so that automatically makes my Crypt Horrors less effective. That makes all of my knights less effective. I could just sit out here in hopes that we eventually just draw them out of the forest because they would eventually want to fight, but I'm like, no, let's, this opponent wants to camp here, so we'll let them, sit here in this forest and negate the advantage of my Cav and all my Crypt Horrors. So I'll take this fight. But first I'm going to get the Red Duke over here because, he's just going to scout. He's just going to scout a little bit. That's all he's doing over here. That is all he is doing over here. That is all he... Now, the enemy was probably waiting for this, but... Well... Dwarves are not a very fast folk. It's just their short legs, it's not their fault that they're short and that their commander put them stacked on top of each other in a perfect Winds of Death maneuver. And now we did not hit this Longbird on the edge though, but basically everything else we kind of hit pretty hard. So here we go, we're going to do a simultaneous charge. Skeletal Warriors, Crypt Horrors are going to come in, 2 on that flank, 2 on this flank. Skeletal Warriors are going to hold backed up by the Corpse Cart and then the Stearnsmen in the middle. And I'm just going to be doing cycle charges for the next, well, for about as long as you see here. So I'm going to just pull out, and about every 10 to 15 seconds, I'm going to issue another charge order with the Black Knights. Now again, these guys are in the forest, so most of my damage in this army with the Crypt Horrors and the cycle charging Black Knights is kind of not going to be that great. Because, well, for one, they have a Runesmith, so that, negates a lot of damage. But then 2, they're in the forest, so my Knights and my Crypt Horrors just aren't that great. But luckily enough, we are already going to route a couple Dwarf Warriors, I believe. So I'm going to stick some Black Knights on them and make sure they are routed off the field that way. And again, the Crypt Horrors, 2 are going to be pushing in this way, 2 are going to be pushing this way. The Red Duke himself is going to be fighting over here. I didn't want to send him against Grombrindle directly because it's Grombrindle, and that dude can just murder like nearly any other lord in this game, so I didn't want to do that. These Longbeards have already been broken because of the amount of damage they've received from the Winds of Death. And again, I'm just going to be cycle charging our knights, one in after the other. And as the dwarven line is shortening, I can't really fit all 5 in there, so I'm going to be just kind of charging one in at a time, pulling another one in, Charging the other one out. There's really not too much to micro here, and I'm waiting for us to get a lot of damage on our Cryptors before I pop our first Invocation of the Heck, which should be soon-ish, but I will drop one in this area. Corpse Cart just going to kind of sit there unhindered because there's nothing that can really threaten it, so I put it right in the front lines. Eventually, I'm going to send a Black Knight to go deal with these Dwarf Warriors because they're going to come back from routing. And you can see, like, I can't really fit all my Knights in here, so I have to kind of just charge in one at a time, pull out, charge in, pull out. And I'm trying to do cycle charges with the Red Duke as well because he is on a horse. I won't get in super close because we'll leave that for the cinematic view. Now, my frontline Skeletal Warriors, you can see they have taken a lot of damage here. There's really not many Skeletal Warriors left here, but that's why I have the Sternsman to back them up in the center. And I have whipped a couple of the Skeletal Warriors around the flanks here and here, so we're just trying to close in this, I guess, like noose. And now we're just continually cycle charging with our Black Knights. One of these Knights should be sent to deal with these guys soon. The Red Duke got a little too close to Grombrindle, so we're going to pull him out. Again, I have no desire at all to fight Grombrindle with the Red Duke 1v1. That's not a battle I want. So here we go. The Cryptors are starting to get a little injured here, so I think this should be when I drop the Invocation of the Heck in this area. My left flank, though, is totally fine. The Cryptors are okay. My Skeletal Warriors aren't, but that's fine. They are there to die. We got another buff coming in from the Rune Lord. Iron Breakers are just holding on for a very long time because they're Iron Breakers. There we go. My Black Knight is taking care of that Dwarf Warrior group or Longbeard group. I'm not sure which it is, but they're taking care of it. Here goes my Invocation of the Heck on our Cryptors. Going to get them back up into better fighting shape. I think I hit most of my army actually with this one. Oh, that was Grombrindle's Flash Bomb. So minus 34 melee defense, speed, and leadership for the units around here. And you can see that actually almost brings them down to crumbling. I don't think they ever do crumble, but it brings them damn near close. And this entire battle just cycle charging with Black Knights. In and out. And even with I'll say a pretty good Winds of Death, this damn Dwarven army of Longbeards and Ironbreakers are still holding for a very long time. Honestly, I thought they'd break pretty quickly with cycle charging, but you know, again, we're fighting the forest, so we're not really at our top capacity here. But eventually, you can kind of see where this is going. I don't have to actually fight Grombrindle, I just have to destroy his army because Grombrindle, again, is not unbreakable like Ungrim Ironfist is. So you don't have to fight him. You just have to fight the rest of his army. He's kind of like the Red Duke. Or not the Red Duke, sorry. Vlad von Karstein, you kind of want to kill his army before you tackle him. Who else is like that? Morgor, the Shadowgate, is kind of like that. That's situational, though. But anyway, good game to my dwarf opponent who tried to counter, I think, the summoning vampire count build just by stacking a bunch of very tough dwarven warriors on top of each other. And I think they stacked them on top of each other, so I couldn't like summon units in the middle of them and like separate the units. I think this is supposed to be just one compact like giant wall of death that my skeletal warriors would break upon, like all my summoned skeletal warriors. It's just well, their little legs just didn't carry them fast enough. You can see the opponent was waiting for it because I made it pretty well, it's pretty obvious when someone's going to cast Winds of Death because they get to the side of your army, they line up perfectly, and you're like, I wonder what they're doing. And as soon as I cast it, they started moving, but again, they're not fast enough. So 288 kills on the Red Duke. That's a pretty good day for the Red Duke. I think he's pretty happy. Besides that, Sternsman 42 kills. My cycle charging Black Knights, each one of these Black Knights only costs 700, so they are super cheap. And even in the forest, they still got a lot of kills, considering that they were fighting at a disadvantage. They were slower. Their melee attack is weaker. I can't remember what I think it's like minus 80%. Is it minus 80% to most of their stats in the forest? I may be wrong, but I have to double check on that. It's been a while since I looked it up. Cryptors did okay, and then the Corpse Guard, which is, rolling around there. For Jafur, we have 38 kills on Grombrindle because he is a beast. Even though they suffered a Winds of Death spell, I think these Dwarf Warriors still did pretty well. These guys routed pretty quickly, but they have a lower leadership. But yeah, the Iron Breakers and then the Longbeards still got a decent amount of kills, considering they're fighting at like half or less health before the battle even started. And then the RuneSmith got 21 kills too. So again, good game to Jafur. Hope you enjoyed the Black Knights of Mousilion. That's was my goal. They didn't get to really be shown that much because this wasn't really a fight in the open fields where they are ideally put, but I mean, it's still fine. Let's go watch a cinematic view of Mousillon. Red Duke's just kind of going out for a casual stroll. You know how he does. You know how he does. He loves his casual strolls and, oh yeah, winds of death. Jesus. Oh my god. I don't use winds of death often. In fact, nearly, like, never. So, that is by far probably my most kills in a winds of death. Oh, by the way, I think Grombrindle should be free for everybody now. I think he's officially released for everyone who didn't get him with that special promotion they did a couple months ago. I think. I still think the Black Knights are a fine unit. I don't think they're really that bad. They're super cheap for what they do. I really don't know why people don't bring them that much. Well, you know, probably because they have Blood Knights. It's like, why would you want to spend money on Black Knights when you could just get Blood Knights, I guess. Because I guess the thing is, like, Black Knights, at least these normal ones that cost 700, they're not really meant for anti-cav. But they're decently fast, decently armored, and again, I think they're pretty good. Because you just spam them. I should say they're good in certain situations. Like, I'd probably bring him against Wood Elves. I don't know how well they do against Wild Riders in a 1v1. I'm sure they'd lose. I just wonder how well they'd hold up. Actually, they'd probably get wrecked by Wild Riders. The Wild Riders have such a high attack. If they get the charge off. The Red Duke is so cool. That's gonna be it. The last stand of Grombrindle's throng, I guess. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all in the next one. Take care.